Hi, I'm Steve Tiber, president and founder of 8 Days of Hope. We're here at our national headquarters outside of Tupelo, Mississippi, and we want to welcome you. We've been so excited for tonight. Over the next 35 minutes, we're going to be sharing some stories of what God did through volunteers of 8 Days of Hope these past 12 months. Do you know that 8 Days of Hope deployed and served communities 18 different times this past year during a pandemic, right? Only God could do that. Providing groceries and food to families in need through a local church, tarping roofs and doing chainsaw work after a tornado or hurricanes or flooding, building safe places for ministries, providing a safe place for those who've been rescued from sex trafficking. The last 11 months has been a whirlwind, but we're so excited about what God has done. And tonight, we're going to share about a brand new arm of the ministry, what we believe that God is about to do through the saints of 8 Days of Hope. So hey, you got a couple minutes, text your friends, message them, tell them to join us. But over the next half an hour, we think that God is going to be exalted as we share about what He did this past year. This year, our rapid response arm deployed 7 different times as they served families in need. So our first video tonight, you're going to meet some of those volunteers that served with us this past year.
Oh my goodness, God bless you, 8 Days of Hope. I don't know what I would do without you.
Hurricane Michael was my worst nightmare. When 8 Days of Hope showed up, they were my greatest blessing.
We were lost. We didn't know what we was going to do when we seen the destruction of our home and everything that we've lost. 35 years of our lives just destroyed. One day, 8 Days of Hope guys showed up here.
And if the sun's still in the sky, no, I don't mind the heat. I want the dirt on my fingers, the ground beneath my feet.
Whenever I come into these places, I look at all the devastation. I don't get overwhelmed in the sense that I lose hope, but I get very excited because I know that God is about to make an impression, an imprint on the community.
Heartbreaking to have it in such shape like we see it when we first come into town. Pretty devastating.
I want them to be able to recover and to get back to something normal, and you hope that what you're doing is going to be the right thing and it's going to help, and that somehow in it they see the love of Christ.
The rapid response arm of 8 Days of Hope shows up within 72 hours of a disaster. We bring our own tools, we bring our own equipment, we bring our own certified equipment operators, and we're here to show the love of Christ in a very tangible way. It's one thing to tell somebody that you're praying for them, and it's quite another thing to show up in person, to pick up a chainsaw or a muck-out kit and go help them get their lives back into order. And that's what 8 Days of Hope does.
We had an F3 tornado swept through our county, destroyed homes and neighborhoods, and lots of destruction that took place here in our area.
I've lived here all my life, and we've never had flooding this massive and this dangerous.
Everything inside the house had to be tore out, the walls up to 4 feet, and all the floors and subfloors, and that would have been difficult for me. I'm 76 years old, and my wife is 76, so.
It's anywhere from floods to tornadoes or whatever it may be. Just trying to give them some kind of peace and closure upon what the disaster that they're actually having to go through.
And if the sun's still in the sky, no, I don't mind the heat. I want the dirt on my fingers, the ground beneath my feet.
We've come and we fellowship with them. We've worked hard. We've done everything out of love for them. It's just showing them the love of God.
We leave them with hope that they can continue on and recover from their disaster.
It was a tremendous relief because I was here trying to figure out what to do, not knowing what to do, and never been through this before. It was a godsend for me
We might not have any floors, we might not have any walls necessarily, but we're going to have each other, and we're going to have the blessing of 8 Days of Hope being here, taking care of us.
They just cleared out everything that they could get to. The trees, they cut them up and brought them to the front. And the women and the men just worked together, and they were just also gracious, and they were from everywhere.
You're from Wisconsin, you're from Kentucky, our leaders from New Mexico. You come from all around to just give back and be a little bit of God's story through this.
God has called us to be a light in the world, and that's what we get to do in some of the darkest times that homeowners experience. I mean, I've seen so much chaos and so much just despair from homeowners, just not knowing which way to turn or what to do next.
Well, they're getting a lot of work done, but that's not why we come. To see people come from all over the United States with love in their heart. What can we do for you? And that's what it's all about, serving and loving.
I finally decided that it's my turn to get involved and to come down here and do what I can, offer my talents and skills and labor to help somebody else.
I'm only one man, but I mean, a lot of one person can do a lot of work.
Come on, don't think that you don't have anything to offer, because there's something for everyone. We need people at the desk, we need people cooking, we need people serving, we need people cleaning, we need people doing laundry.
I've been volunteering with 8 Days of Hope for about 3 years now. I've discovered that there is something for everyone to do. Not only do we serve the people in the area who had storm damage, but we also serve the other volunteers that are here.
When we have a rapid response deployment, we have 2 commercial kitchens that we can deploy so that we're prepared to cook meals for all of our volunteers. There's always a need for volunteers to join our cook team, and we'd love to have you be a part of that.
I've been serving with 8 Days of Hope since 2005, the very first trip. If you're willing to look for a way to serve, God's got something for you here with Rapid Response.
You can be here for as long as you want. You can work as hard as you want. You work at your own pace.
When I come here, my soul is filled. I am blessed by the people that we serve, and it encourages me.
This gives me a tremendous sense of fulfillment that I'm making a difference.
It's not a better thing you can do to help somebody in need.
It's a great experience that you never will forget, and you won't come just once.
And if the sun's still in the sky, no, I don't mind the heat. I want the dirt on my fingers, the ground beneath my feet.
Aren't those volunteers precious? We are so thankful for every single volunteer that ever served the 8 Days of Hope over the last 16 years, 45,000 volunteers. And those volunteers make 8 Days of Hope what it is. You know, we have 180 volunteer leaders and a very small staff, and we lead those 45,000 people to love and serve the brokenhearted. And again, we're so thankful for every single one. Do you know, every week, either up in Buffalo, New York, where our Northeast satellite is located, or in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where our Midwest satellite is located, or here in Tupelo, Mississippi, at our national headquarters, we get these thank you notes. And tonight I thought it'd be cool to kind of share a couple thank you notes with you from families that we served this past year. So a lady by the name of Sue, Miss Sue lives in La Place, Louisiana. We were there for 7 weeks as we were helping out that area recover after Hurricane Ida. Here's what Miss Sue says. 8 Days of Hope. There's really no words to express how thankful I am for all that you've done for me, my family, and the people in my community. God is so good. Thank you so much. We love you so much, Miss Sue, from La Place, Louisiana. And then early this year, we provided over $6 million of food to local churches in multiple states. And one of the churches in upstate New York, in Buffalo, distributed food to families in need in Western New York. And this note came from Miss Sandra. 8 Days of Hope. I received my gift package of food this morning, and I'm ecstatic. God bless all the volunteers, the people that have sown into your ministry and the businesses that have partnered with you. For me and my family, it's been a choice between eating or paying my mortgage. A heartfelt thank you to the 8 Days of Hope family. Love you, Miss Sandra, Buffalo, New York. So thankful for those families that take a moment to send us a note like this. We share it with the volunteers, and it's so encouraging. Hey, about 2 years ago, we started a new arm of the ministry. We partner with ministries that are providing a safe place for those who've been rescued from sex trafficking. And this next video is geared toward a contractor. So maybe you know a contractor, maybe a family member's a contractor, maybe you're a handyman or handywoman. Meet 4 of the contractors that traveled this past year and served with us in Philadelphia.
With the Safe House construction arm of 8 Days of Hope, we come alongside existing ministries who are rescuing women and girls from sex trafficking. These ministries are at or over capacity with their housing needs. So sometimes we build a new facility, sometimes we remodel an existing one for them to have more safe places for these ladies to go.
I got started in construction between my freshman and sophomore year of college, working with my uncle remodeling a basement.
Growing up, my dad started out as a painter. It turned into home improvements, and then framing, and then complete home building.
When we came to America in 2003, me and my brother, we went to a construction company. So we started working on with a roofing company, and we like that. And as we go, we learn things, and we start our own business years later.
Got out of the Air Force in 1991. I worked on B-52 bombers, electronics, air data systems. There wasn't a big call for that in the civilian world, so I got a job putting furnaces in with my cousin. Started at $3.25 an hour, and now I'm here. The decision for me to be a part of this type of a ministry or mission it's a very simple one. God has blessed me tremendously and continues to bless me every day. The least thing I can do is use some of the talents and tools and experience that I have to build back into His kingdom and glorify the name of Jesus.
I got involved with Safe House from the very beginning. When I heard about it, I knew I wanted to be involved, but I wasn't sure how. And this gives me an opportunity to use my skills for more than just making money.
We make a decision that we definitely want to join this project because it's not just to help do a roof or renovation. This is something that will help women to find God.
Sometimes this kind of thing can seem like there's not much you can do, but for me, it seems like it's something that I can do to help and serve, to help bring hope and healing to those that are in need of this ministry.
A typical deployment with us lasts 2 weeks. We come alongside these ministries and try to get their facilities as far along as we can in 14 days. So we're trying to do 60 to 90 days worth of work in 2 weeks. That's why it's so important for us to have our skilled and professional volunteers come alongside us.
These projects, these sites, these missions combine a lot of people from a lot of different talents and skills in areas of life and in areas of the construction industry. You'll have electricians, you'll have plumbers, HVAC people, framers, drywallers, guys that specialize in windows. We all work together, even though there may be 6 of us in a very small room. We work together, we get along well, we stay out of each other's way as much as we can to complete a project in really a very short amount of time, a shorter amount of time than you could possibly pay someone to get it done in that same amount of time. These projects are very well coordinated, they're very well led, and everyone has a mission and a purpose to get to the end result, which is good completion.
Me as a construction business owner, I always involved in projects. And knowing the project like this takes weeks, sometimes months to do it, this particular project will take 2 weeks from start to finish. Then it's removing walls, new frame, electric plumbing and all that stuff. But just see the group of people, different states, you never seen before, you never know before, comes together and work as one team. And the project get done smooth. And that's what I love to see it when I join projects like this.
It's unique, that's for sure. We love what we do and we love sharing it, especially with the safe house construction. Yeah, if we can bring more skilled people in, our quality of work will increase more and our speed of work will increase more.
I've always found it a struggle to not be consumed by my job, but to keep it in the proper order and try to keep your focus in life where it should be. And it's not all about building up our business. You could take your skills and your giftings and your talents and use them for a greater purpose other than just building our business and making that better, but to pour back into other people's lives and build their lives up too.
I never have to chase for a job. I never have to chase for work. I never have to chase for employees, just because what I'm doing for God from the bottom of my heart, I see that God provides for me. And that's why I encourage everybody doing the same thing.
As contractors, as tradesmen, we think, oh, I gotta make $1, and we'll work 6-7 days a week just so we can pay our bills. And this has a much longer impact than what we can ever have in our business. So if anyone is thinking about it, I would say try it out. Take a week, try it out, because it's life-changing.
If you're a skilled contractor or construction person and you're a Christian, you should very seriously consider giving back to the Lord from what He has given you, from the talents, the skills, and every way that He's blessed you. This is a very worthwhile mission. We are the hands and feet of Jesus here. Even though we may not be directly involved with the people that we're helping, we're providing a service for God's kingdom that He'll certainly reward. And I would very strongly encourage any Christian contractor to get involved in these missions. If we're not going to do this, who is?
If you're interested with serving with the 8 Days of Hope Safe House Ministry, we would love to have you. Your first step is to email safehouse@8daysofhope.com. From there, we'll get your background check, get your skill set, and add you to our Safe House volunteer list. Then, whenever we travel across the country, you'll be notified of where we're going, what we're doing, and what kind of skills we need. We provide food and lodging, so all you have to do is say yes to helping build a place of restoration for survivors of human trafficking.
Isn't that amazing? 4 different contractors living in 4 different parts of America join 8 Days of Hope to build a safe place for those rescued from sex trafficking. Now that video is geared to contractors, handymen, handywomen. That video is on our YouTube channel. Share it with somebody that you know that is gifted with their hands. If they want to join us, it's simple. They email us at safehouse@8daysofhope.com and we'll reach back out to them. But please share that video. 2022 is going to be an amazing year for this arm of the ministry. We believe that God's going to open some huge doors for us to have a huge impact to provide hope to those feeling hopeless, those rescued from sex trafficking. So share that video, man, we would really appreciate it. All right, we have one more video to show you, and at the end of the video, we've got some exciting news about that brand new arm of the ministry. So again, sit back, relax, enjoy it, but don't leave, because at the end of the video, I've got one more surprise. God is so good, and I can't wait to share some exciting information with you. But here it is, our 2021 year-end video. Hey guys, Steve Tybert with 8 Days of Hope. You know, 2021 was an amazing year of ministry with almost 3,000 volunteers traveling the country with us as we responded to natural disasters and building safe homes, like this project right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is our 8th safe house that 8 Days Hope has built for those who've been rescued from sex trafficking. Let's take a look back and see what God did through this ministry of 8 Days of Hope in 2021. Our Rapid Response Ministry deployed to 7 communities this past year, serving over 400 families. We started off the year responding to flooding in the poorest community in the United States, Beattyville, Kentucky. Our team served for multiple weeks, helping pick up the pieces of one of our new favorite towns. Lifelong friendships were formed as we were able to help out so many in need. Our second Rapid Response event took place in Calhoun County, Alabama. A powerful tornado ripped through North Alabama, claiming multiple lives and damaging hundreds of homes. While we were there serving, a major flood devastated what seems to become our second home the last couple of years, Lake Charles, Louisiana. This outreach was our 5th response to this area in just the last 2 years. Shortly thereafter, a tiny town in Tennessee flooded and paralyzed a close-knit community. 19 people lost their lives due to the storm. 8 Days of Hope was able to spend 14 days ministering to families that lost so much more than just their homes. The volunteers felt a strong connection as they poured out their hearts to these precious families. While we were serving in Waverly, Hurricane Ida made landfall on the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. This storm was so powerful that we would spend the next 7 weeks serving in South Louisiana. We served in Mandeville, LaPlace, and Kenner. Volunteers came in from all over the country as we helped over 265 families during this outreach. We removed hundreds of trees from roofs, fences, and even cars. We tarped roofs and we mucked out homes, and the list goes on. The volunteers were relentless to show the hope of Jesus to so many in need. This year, we were also able to serve in both satellite locations. 8 Days of Hope Buffalo took place in July, where 202 families received free home repairs over an 8-day period. 1,200 volunteers from all over the country came to be the hands and feet of Jesus in the Northeast. We love that God continues to open doors for us to serve in this community alongside 75 local churches and businesses. After a major windstorm hit Cedar Rapids last year, we decided to go back to our Midwestern home and continue our efforts. 147 skilled volunteers served for 8 days doing tree work and stump removal. To be able to return and help those still in need a year later was a blessing to say the least. Our Safe House ministry has grown beyond our wildest expectations. We were able to serve 4 organizations that are helping survivors of the fastest growing crime in our world today, sex trafficking. In February, we completed our 5th Safe House project in Northeast Mississippi. For 2 weeks, we had the privilege of working with Transformation Garden on a facility that 16 survivors can call home to get the emotional, physical, and spiritual support they need. Then we went back to our first Safe House project ever and partnered with Elijah Rising outside Houston, Texas, to install brand new windows and help them get closer to having another home ready for more survivors to take refuge. In October, we visited South Dakota and worked on one of the most unique projects to date, an apartment complex for survivors who are being reunited with their children. We're so honored to help build a facility that will be used for decades to come, 12 apartments that will be available to these families for up to 3 years at no charge. Now, to finish out the year, 8 Days of Hope traveled here to Pennsylvania, and we partnered with an amazing ministry called Worthwhile Wear. They provide hope to those feeling hopeless, those who've been rescued from sex trafficking. This project was special because we not only were able to renovate a home, but we were also able to provide much needed office space for their growing operations. The need for survivors to have a safe place to receive hope and healing is a dire need. But God is opening more and more doors for us to be on the front lines using our gifts to end this tragedy, one house at a time, one survivor at a time. Through the spring of 2021, we continue to help local churches distribute food in their communities. 157 churches across 3 states delivered tens of thousands of boxes of food to their neighbors who were without. 8 Days of Hope distributed over $6 million of food this past year through local churches. When Hurricane Ida hit, our rapid response team deployed immediately. When we arrived, the need for food, water, and fuel was apparent. Our team was working away, tarping roofs, mucking out homes, and removing trees, but people not only needed a safe place to lay their heads at night, but they also had an essential need that was not being met, the opportunity to eat. We gathered, prayed, and obeyed. For the next 2 weeks, we would do something we had never done before. We fed 500 meals a day to the hurting and the hungry. And we saw what a hot meal could do for families that were going on a month with no electricity or a stable home to go back to. Today, I have some exciting news for you. 8 Days of Hope is expanding and launching a new arm of the ministry. That means that 8 Days of Hope will respond to disasters, help people rebuild, and now feeding focused. What does that mean? I'm glad you asked. Now, in order to launch this arm in excellence, we believe that we have to raise about $1 million. Yes, $1 million. That's a lot of money, we know that. But think about this. We're gonna be sending trained people to make large amounts of food, up to 8,000 meals every single day for 8 days. That's 64,000 meals in an 8-day period. But that means you not only need people who are your greatest assets, but you need the equipment. And of course, the equipment doesn't come cheap. So we've talked to other people that do some type of feeding ministries, and we've learned from them, so we know that we're buying the right equipment and the amount of equipment we need. But here's some good news, some exciting news. So we have talked to a small group of donors who've given to us in the past. They provided resources for us to expand the ministry, and they want to offer up a matching gift. Now, a matching gift is simple. You don't get the money unless you raise the money. But these donors have come together, and today we're excited to announce that we have a $250,000 matching gift. Every dollar you give, up to $250,000, will be doubled. So if you want to give $10, it turns into $20. If you feel comfortable sowing $100 in the ministry, it turns into $200. You can do the math. But this is a perfect time for us to raise the resources we need in order to do this in excellence. So you can give one of two ways. You can go online at 8daysofhope.com. It's easy, fast, and it's safe. Donate 8daysofhope.com online. Every gift will be doubled over the next 6 weeks. You can also mail us a check to P.O. Box 3208, Tupelo, Mississippi 38803. Wouldn't this be just like God, that once again He provides all the resources that we need to do His work? I mean, it's not about 8 Days of Hope. It's not about a person or a leader with this ministry, but it's God working through His saints, through local churches and businesses and individuals like you. Continue to pray for the ministry of 8 Days of Hope. Consider volunteering with us in 2022 as we continue to serve families in need. Please consider a donation more than ever before to help us launch this new arm of the ministry. Man, we love you guys. Hope to see you in a future trip with 8 Days of Hope. As always, to learn more about the ministry, go to 8daysofhope.com. Isn't that exciting news? A brand new arm of the ministry for 8 Days of Hope, a mass feeding arm, where volunteers will go on a moment's notice within 24 hours to provide the most basic need that one has after a disaster. I mean, think about it. Just think back to Hurricane Ida. No power for 27 days. Refrigerators all flooded out. No food anywhere. 8 Days of Hope adjusted what we were doing to provide food and water to those in need. Do you know this equipment behind me is deployed with all of our rapid response teams? This can make up to about 700 meals at one time. Our goal is simply to provide up to 8,000 meals every day for up to 8 days through a local church as we pray with people and love on people who just had the worlds turned upside down. I've got some exciting news for you. You know, a couple minutes ago, you saw our year-end video, and at the end of the video that we shot 2 weeks ago in Pennsylvania, I shared with you that a small group of donors came together and they said, we love the vision for this new arm of the ministry. We trust you and we want to be a part of it. And they committed to offer a matching gift. A matching gift is simple. Every dollar you raise, they double. I mean, where can you double a gift to a ministry these days? So that amount in the video was $250,000, but wait to see what our God did the last 2 weeks. We've had the chance to share the passion and the vision for this ministry that we can provide up to 8,000 meals a day for 8 days in a row. And some other donors said, we want to be a part of this. And so that matching gift of $250,000 has grown. It's grown to $500,000. For the next 6 weeks, every dollar donated to 8 Days of Hope, either on our website or by mailing a check to our P.O. Box, will be matched dollar for dollar. That means that by January 15th, God could provide every dollar needed to pay for this brand new arm of the ministry up front, even before we launch. Wouldn't that be just like God? I mean, He's Jehovah Jireh. It's amazing what God continues to do and pour into 8 Days of Hope as we love and serve the brokenhearted. So please consider a year-end donation. If you've never donated before, this is the year to do it. You can give online at 8daysofhope.com. It's safe, it's fast, it's easy, or you can mail a check to our P.O. Box, P.O. Box 3208, Tupelo, Mississippi, 38803. Hey, in closing, I want to share a couple tidbits of information for you as you pray about making a donation to 8 Days of Hope. Do you know we have 14 partners? They're all listed on our website. These businesses and churches are all around the country, and they love what God is doing through 8 Days of Hope, and they cover our fixed cost. Fixed costs are expenses and light bills and insurance payments on our vehicles and so much more. That means that every time someone donates to the ministry of 8 Days of Hope, it's 100% passed through to families in need. So every penny you donate will go to the front lines to love and serve the brokenhearted. We're so thankful for those 14 national partners. Did you also know that we're a member of ECFA? That's Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability. Here's an organization that's certified 8 Days of Hope, and they attest that we are financially accountable and we're doing what we say we're doing. I want to thank everyone who's prayed for the ministry of 8 Days of Hope, who volunteered with us, who've sowed in the ministry over the last 16 years. Do you know that 8 Days of Hope now has rebuilt about 7,500 homes across the country, 8 safe houses for those rescued from sex trafficking, and now a new arm of the ministry. I hope to see you next year. I know these are unique times still in our country, but pray for the ministry of 8 Days of Hope, consider volunteering, and once again, consider donation. We love you guys. We feel your prayers. Share tonight's 30-minute journey of looking back at what God has done through the ministry of 8 Days of Hope, and as importantly, as we look forward to 2022. As always, for more information, go to 8dayshope.com. I hope to see you next year on a trip with 8 Days of Hope.